Cool. All right.
All right, and we are live. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Paul T. Thanks again for checking out the DSLR Chronicles. Today, I have a very special guest. This guy's been in my last short film, Trickle Down Autonomy, and he's been doing a lot in the acting world. You check him out on IMDb. He's just got a long list of stuff that he's been doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Romen L. McPherson. Roman, how's it going, bro?
Pretty good, man. You make me feel like I need to run for president. Giving me credentials. I didn't even know I had all those things.
Right. No, man. Like whenever you applied for my thing and I looked at your IMDb, I was like, wow, this guy's been doing a lot. So, and you've been going to film festivals, and then I saw just recently you posted something on Instagram to where there was a film you were in that was showing at Cannes right now.
Yeah, it was. I actually just got back from the Sundance Film Festival this past February, and I spoke with the producer. I was in two of their films called Smoke Camera Productions, and they notified me last week and told me that one of our films called Flashburn, which stars Sean Patrick Flannery he was the young Indiana Jones. He's been in a ton of things. Best probably known for Boondock Saints, that trilogy. So it was really cool set with him. It also had Cameron Diaz. I'm sorry, not Cameron Diaz. Cameron Richardson.
Okay.
Y'all get to work with Cameron Diaz. Maybe that was a slip. Cameron Richardson. She's best known as she played the girlfriend of Dave Seville on Alvin and the Chipmunks in the early 2000s. So I got a chance to work with them, and then one of my good friends, Justin Fisher from Austin, Texas. So, and they just notified me that it's actually debuting. We haven't even seen it yet, but it's debuting at the Cannes Film Festival. So I guess that's not too bad.
Cool, man. So like I said, yeah, this guy gets around. He's been doing some things. So, all right. So then let's go ahead and get right into it. So if you could, for my audience, tell us your name, where you're from, and where you currently reside right now.
All right. Romen L. McPherson. I grew up in Sugarland, Texas. Sugarland is where they made imperial sugar, hence Sugarland, Texas. So home of the sweet and the brave, or something cool like that. I'm currently in Cypress, Texas. But man, it doesn't feel like I have a home. I'm always kind of traveling, trying to hit different events and productions. So I guess home is where the heart is.
Cool. So, and if you could tell us how long you've been actually pursuing an acting career.
This go around, I started again about 7 years ago. I actually have a degree in radio and television. But then you get married and you pursue other things and family life and raising children. And so sometimes we just end up kind of letting our dreams go. So I got the opportunity to work on a short film about 7 years ago, and that just rejuvenated everything. I wasn't even aware that Houston had a small film community at all. So when I found out about it and I learned out about it, it was excellent. It just kind of breathed life right back into me and allowed me to start to pursue passions and everything. So about 7 years.
Okay, yeah, and I think that kind of dovetails into my next question, which was, how did you get your start in acting? And I was going to ask, was it theater? Was it short films? And then also, did you take any acting classes or any training or anything like that?
I actually wanted to pursue the performing arts when I was a child, when I was about 7 or 8 years old. When I saw my father jump up and dance like James Brown when Michael Jackson debuted the moonwalk on Motown 25.
Oh, okay.
When I saw the way my father acted, that's when I knew this was something that I wanted to pursue. But when I was in college, my degree was in radio and television, mostly focusing on journalism. So there wasn't really the opportunity to follow television and film as far as the arts. But about 7 years ago, I was actually a mixed martial arts fighter. I've been training for almost about 20 years. I had some friends of mine that went to a fight. And then they called me the next week and said, hey, we need a big, intimidating guy that knows martial arts for this action film called Barroom Blitz. And so that's where it began for me. So I had the opportunity to work then, and then it kind of blown up from there.
Cool. Sounds good. So I always like to ask this to people who've been in my short films and things like that. Just curious, where did you find my casting call for Trickle Down Autonomy?
If I recall, I probably do 4 or 5 auditions a week, I think. So if I recall, I think I saw it maybe it was on Facebook or it was either on Facebook or someone had passed an email to me.
Okay.
I believe so. And my thing is having the opportunity to work locally is fantastic.
Awesome.
But being able to just work on the craft, and especially with people that I feel like are as passionate as I am, and they have good projects, and they're just as hungry as I am. And you and I had, a couple of lengthy conversations, and I thought, man, I definitely want to try to be able to work with you. Being here in Houston and up and coming such as myself, so man, it's a natural fit.
Right, man. And I always say I appreciate you participating in the project. And if you guys didn't know, we spent a lot of time talking back and forth on the phone, just kind of about each other's passions. And then you're the one that turned me on to IMDb Pro, and I didn't really know how much weight was put into that because I was like, hey, I'm just a beginner filmmaker. I just got a couple films. It's like, it's probably nothing that I need at this moment. But after you broke it down to me how people really just use that and see that as like, legitimacy, then I was like, okay, well, then maybe I need to invest some money in doing this. So,
yeah, that's a funny thing. The internet is tremendously funny. It's a frugal monster. I mean, as funny as it is, I like to perform, but I hate internet promoting and things of that nature. I mean, my publicist made me get Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff, and I just just tell me where to go so I can just show up. And It's one of those weird things where it's part of the business. Their business is electronic now, so it helps us. It can hurt you, but it can help as well. So it's almost a necessary tool.
And speaking about like promotion and things like that, so again, you mentioned that you did just come from Sundance, and that is something that not everybody gets a chance to attend. Like I said, I had sent like my last film, Three Jakes and a Narco, and it didn't make it. But all in all, that's not a big deal. But I'd like to ask you about your experience that you actually got a chance to go, and could you tell us kind of like have you been before, and if not, what were your first impressions of Sundance and things like that, and also let us know the film you were there for, because it was for a film that you were actually in. So,
first of all, film festivals are great, whether it's a small film festival, like we have here locally, or maybe in whomever's hometown that might be watching. But to be able to go to the Sundance Film Festival, I'd heard about it a lot for years. I didn't even know where it was. It's in Park City, Utah, and I absolutely loved it. It was cold. I was in the mountains. But it was amazing to be around that film festival because everyone that's there, you see everyone from, A-list stars that are there to promote indie films, and they have a passion for it. And to be able to see, people that enjoy watching indie films in there. So you might be, I remember the first year I was there 3 years ago, and I'm standing there and someone bumped into me outside. I was trying to get phone reception, and I turn over and I can't. What's his name that played the first Spider-Man in The Great Gatsby?
What is that guy's name?
He just.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but because honestly, I wasn't a really big fan of those early Spider-Mans.
Yeah, but
I know you. Was it Tobey Maguire?
Tobey Maguire.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm standing right next to him, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, man. Didn't mean to bump into you." And I'm thinking, no problem. But you see A-list stars, and you just see, just people that have a passion for the film. You see directors, and everyone is there to promote indie films, and it was an amazing opportunity to be there. And the film festivals that we have that might be a little bit smaller or local, actually do the same thing, but it's people here are dreaming big. But when you're there's actually people there to kind of hold on to your dreams and really make it happen. And that's probably the difference. And I would tell any actor, any filmmaker, anyone, it's worth the trip to go and experience it so that you know that you're just not alone in this world, and there's people that are really trying to do it and help us, get to the next level, no matter what form of, whether it be behind the camera or in front of the camera.
Right. And then the film you were there for?
I actually, there's a film called Unhinged. And then there's the film that's called Flashburn, and Smoke Camera Productions they kind of partnered up and had a development deal. So they have distributors that are there in Park City. So we were there promoting those films. We were also there promoting the sci-fi series that we're in the process of seeking funding for a pilot. It's called Parallel Dimensions Under Siege. And that has the local writers are here in Houston. A lot of the cast is from here in Houston. So we were there also talking about that as well. So it was great just to have projects there. My first year there, I got invited, but didn't necessarily have anything. So it was weird. I felt like I was there with a gun, no bullets, so to speak. But going there this time, having projects in the works, and I felt like I was walking around like a loaded weapon. So it was tremendously fun.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing that experience with us. Could you tell me some of the projects that you're currently working on right now?
Okay, just like what I was talking about, we have Parallel Dimension Under Siege, which is a sci-fi show written from some homegrown talent, which I think is wonderful to be able to have here because Houston is synonymous with, space and NASA. So to be able to have that here is very interesting. Of course, we worked on, our short film, Trickle Down Autonomy, which I love that. And I'm still waiting, to kind of get a good grasp of that and let's go showcase that thing. I also have a couple of other projects that we have in post-production. Pre-production. That just kind of waiting to get off the ground before we make some announcements. And I actually have a film that's in pre-production now that I'm working on that's called Wild in Rome. That's it has some performance pieces in there. It's kind of about music and adapting in life and things of that nature. So that's we're working on that as well. So probably 5 or 6 projects in the works now. Plus still trying to audition daily. So we 2017 should be pretty busy.
Sounds good. Okay, and then so what is your ultimate goal in the acting world? Is it Hollywood? Is it Broadway? Is it television? Like if you had like I know you're probably going to say probably like a combination of all three, but if you just really had your top one that you really wanted to like just see yourself in, would it be like the Hollywood or television or Broadway? What do you have?
And I can answer all three of those things. I've always wanted to be in movies. I love film. I love movies. I'm not really that much of a book reader because you open up a book and it's like I have narcolepsy. I fall asleep immediately. So watching movies is kind of like my book reading. I love film, all genres. I absolutely love it. So I would love to be a successful, actor in movies. But also too, it's something about being able to work in television and work with a character and watch that character develop and be the reason why that character develops. So I like that too. I would love to have the opportunity, for example, Parallel Dimension Under Siege, that series. I would love to be able to help develop that character, sci-fi character, and work on that. And I think it for me, you see a lot of movie actors and television actors that started in theater. I didn't have the opportunity to start in theater.
Right.
You know what? I would like to be able to do that and do that for the fun of it and the art of it. And, hopefully after being a little bit more successful in movies and film. So I'd say probably the biggest thing is to prevent from being a starving artist. I would love to be able to do what my passion is. And of course, have things taken care of, on the home front. But be able to get up every day and go to work and be thoroughly confused because it doesn't feel like working because it's my passion. So I hope that answers your question. I would love to be able to do all.
Absolutely. And what's funny is the lines between television and movies are somewhat blurred these days. So I'm currently watching Westworld on HBO, and it's got Jeffrey Wright and it's got Anthony Hopkins in it, and those are both like what we would consider like
exactly.
Hollywood actors, but they're doing stuff on like HBO, and then a lot of actors you're seeing on Netflix now. You wouldn't necessarily call it television these days. Same thing with Kevin Spacey and what is the name of that show? It's my favorite show. I'm blanking out right now. Where he's the president. I can't even think of it right now.
Starts with an S.
I can't believe I can't even think of it right now. And it's coming on again in a couple of weeks.
You look bad now because I'm supposed to be in television and you're a director.
Man, that's bad. I guess it's because I hadn't really just been watching a lot of stuff lately. Because, I've been doing a lot on the YouTube channel. And speaking of starving artists, I just wanted to mention that too. There's always a method to your madness now. I hadn't really just been doing short film, because eventually I got to do something to where I can get to the point to where I can pay for my short films. And that's why I do a lot of this stuff with my YouTube channel, because it's more for branding, because, not necessarily people are just sitting there typing at the computer, what's the best short film of 2017 or whatever. It's me telling them about like how I do techniques and the cameras I use. Then I say, oh, by the way, if you want to see this lens used, please check out my short film, Trickle Down Autonomy.
You do that because there are so many people that learn techniques or they develop things, and next thing you know, they act like they were just miraculously born with it. They don't want to share anything with anybody. And so actually to be able to do that is really a blessing. So I mean, that just actually says a lot about you. Because the information that you're able to teach now and people can learn now on the internet, and it wasn't there 10 years ago. So when I started back acting 7 years ago, you and I had this discussion. When I started back acting 7 years ago, I wasn't even aware that, for example, Houston had a film community.
Right.
When I was graduating college, it was unheard of. There was nothing like that here. So being able to have that film community here gives us the opportunity to work on our craft. And be able to exercise daily, whether you're behind the camera or in front of the camera. So, man, it's great that you actually do that.
Right. And ladies and gentlemen, that show was House of Cards. while Roman was talking, I was so much fun. Like, man, I watched every single season. I can't believe it just blinked out right there. But yeah.
You know what it is? I haven't started watching it yet because I've become spoiled with DVR and Netflix and things of that nature. If something is 1 or 2 or 3 seasons in, I won't even start watching it yet. I'll wait till 4 or 5 seasons, or maybe after it's canceled, and I binge watch.
Yeah,
and I binge watch like there is no tomorrow.
That's what I did with Breaking Bad, and it was awesome. Like, so I watched everything. Like the last season was on when I got into it, and I was just like, I was glad because I was just burned through all the seasons like that. So
there's some, me as a performer, I think there's probably something wrong with me because I'll watch 5 episodes in a row and then I got to get up and stretch and I have to use the bathroom and let me watch one more when I'll pause it and stuff, and so I just get entrenched in it. But I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one. So
right. Okay, cool. So I want to ask you as well. So what advice would you give someone looking to get into the acting world and the acting career and things like that, and also some of the things to watch out for so that they don't get taken advantage of?
My thing is if you have a passion, follow your passion and don't let anyone deter you from it. You asked me earlier if I had done any kind of training. I did talent shows and things like that when I was in high school. But when I started back 7 years ago, I started going to acting classes just so I could start to learn set etiquette and terminology and things of that nature, and basically work on my craft. And I'm in the process of starting a foundation on verbal and physical abuse and kind of rebuilding your own self-image, kind of going through abuse and difficulties growing up.
Okay.
I love being able to talk with people, talk with kids, adults. And I go to speak with students at school and young people, and I always tell them, have a passion and follow your passion. Don't let anyone deter you, whether you're a child, a teenager, young adult, or older. You have to develop a thick skin, because it's very interesting. We get turned down as performers 90% of the time. You might book 1 out of 15, 1 out of 20 auditions. And so you've got a 95% what you could call a failure rate, but you don't focus on that. You focus on the positives. You focus on the fact that you're getting better. You focus on the fact that if you feel comfortable and if you like performing, if it makes you feel like you're expressing yourself and letting yourself go and becoming more of who you are internally. So I would say you got to have a thick skin, follow your passion, and don't let anyone deter you. Being a performer is an extremely lonely business, because sometimes your family won't support you, or your spouse may not support you, or your dog may not support you, or whomever, but you have to believe in it for yourself. Because if you believe in yourself, you will make other people eventually believe. And if you can just see the light at the end of the tunnel and don't worry about the hurricanes and the wind and everything that's kind of coming at you, follow the passion. If you have it, do it. And I have the mindset that if you're supposed to be the best architecture, if you're supposed to be the best, tax preparer, if you're supposed to be the best director, whatever it is, follow it. But if you have been blessed with a talent and you don't use that talent, I feel like that in itself is a sin. So to be blessed with something and a desire, just go for it and follow it.
And yeah, I want to kind of touch on that subject you just mentioned. Yeah, I would have to say, yeah, actors probably have some of the thickest skin in the world because, again, even with my projects, I've run into like people that have sent me some awesome, like, audition material, but it's like, I can't pick everybody, because I only have a certain amount of characters. And you're right. It's like, I can imagine what that's like with, at least with dating, with rejection, but like in the acting world, I mean, it's kind of like, yeah, like you have 10 auditions and, you don't get any of them, but it's like, you still have to keep going because eventually you'll get something. So
do you know actually probably being a performer has actually helped my dating life in the sense that rejection doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother me.
I probably need to do some auditions myself.
But it's crucial. I mean, I've been told I'm too dark. I've been told I'm too light. I've been told I'm not ethnic enough looking. I've been told I have too much hair. I've been told I've been told I'm too muscular. You get told all kinds of things, but you have to learn to just let it kind of roll off of you and just keep going forward. Of course, we're not going to be the best for every part. And even you go through that. You audition people, you're like, man, I like this. Even with me, I audition for a certain character for you.
Right.
You go, you know what I like, what you bring into it. I'm going to actually write a character in for you.
Right.
And so I like that because of, to me, rejection is nothing now. It's just about believing in something and trying to get in where I can fit in. And then even probably taking like a director such as yourself or casting director and saying, God, this dude just forced me to have to pay attention to him. Let's get him in. And so that's kind of like the mindset that I have to have. It's kind of like being a bull in the china shop, breaking glass.
Right. Okay. And then, yeah, the other question I had was just, what advice would you give up and coming actors to keep from being taken advantage of? I know you have an agent and things like that, but I'm sure, if somebody sees somebody on the rise, I mean, they probably get approached by any and everybody saying, hey, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. All I need is X amount of percentage or whatever. So, and then also too, with like casting calls, you may see some bogus stuff out there that's promising the world and stuff like that. So what are some of the things you've seen and just kind of like advice you'd give people to just kind of just,
that's a great question. I'm still going through it myself. When I meet people or people approach me with projects or wanting to maybe help represent me, I always have to do my homework and I always have to kind of let my intuition jump in, and sometimes it saves me a lot. All I can say is do research, but if there's an agency that you're interested in, do your research, look at reviews, contact some of the talent that are actually there and ask them what they think. Hey, do they provide you with auditions? Do they work with you? Are they patient with you? Do they teach? Do they provide you with acting coaches to go to or photographers with headshots? Or are they one of those places that just say, hey, we want you to pay us a certain amount of money every month, and you just become a part of their agency, but they don't really do much for you?
Yeah.
I think like a lot of times that might be synonymous with an agency that's more into modeling. They want you to pay like a lot of money to get these shots and a portfolio and all that kind of stuff. And so modeling is different. So I can't speak on that, but as an actor, you really shouldn't have to do that. Just research and questions, and if it's working on a project and it almost sounds too good to be true, well, research the director. Talk with other talent that are supposedly part of the project, and talk with them and see what they think. And but you can't avoid all the potholes in the road. I mean, you're going to hit some, just as long as you don't get a flat tire, just keep rolling.
Right. And it's good that we have stuff like Facebook groups. Like, it's a lot of Facebook groups here in Houston based around filmmaking, and then IMDb as well, because like you said, like years ago, a lot of that stuff wasn't really available on the internet. So at least now you have a chance to, reach out to someone and say, hey, do you know about this guy, about this project? Can you tell me a little bit about it? And, because even remember Makia, the girl that you worked with on Trickle Down Autonomy, she worked with me on my very first short film when I got back into filmmaking. And she was like, she told me, she was like, I don't know. I didn't see this guy on IMDb, so I'm not really sure about this project. But, she worked with me and it turned out good. So,
yeah, that was, and it's funny too, sometimes it's a hassle like dealing with IMDb. But really, essentially what it is, it's a resume that you think you don't necessarily have to keep up with. But it's funny. I've been to some film festivals or events where if you're not invited, but yet you show up like as a talent or a director or something like that, wanting to get into a certain event. I have been to places, like especially at the Sundance Film Festival, where they will literally say, "What is your name?" and hold up, their phone and look you up on IMDb, and if you don't have a certain star meter, they're not letting you in. And I'm thinking, geez, And so it's so that's kind of the negative about that. But it's part of it, but going back to what you asked before about someone advice, look on IMDb, do research on people and projects and things of that nature, and just stay positive. Stay positive. It's not going to be a sunny day every single day. It doesn't matter if it's thunderstorms, tornadoes, freezes. Still try to come out on top. Knowing that the seasons will change, things will get better for you. And I'm still trying to learn to adapt to this electronic media and everything that we have. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
So, do me a favor. So, if someone's looking to reach out to you and work with you, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you? Directly or through your agency? How do you usually go about doing these things?
What's funny is I have 5 agents, but as funny as it is, if I feel like I'm not trying to work for myself and promote myself as a walking billboard, I'm not doing myself justice. So you can actually go to IMDb, and I've got, I think, some of my agents listed there, or even my Gmail account, which is my name, Romen, ROMEN, L McPherson @gmail.com. Or this day and age, you can Google someone and find contact information there. So I'm also the same thing under Facebook, Romen L McPherson, and also on Instagram, I think it's Romen Romen.L McPherson.
Yeah, so that actually brings us to the next thing. I was going to say, if you could just let people know where to find you on social media. And if you don't have it with you just right now, like I said, what we'll do is I'll get it from you once we stop streaming, and I'll be sure to include that information in the description box, where you're at on Facebook and, where you're at on Instagram and things like that.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So
you got to tell me, we got to figure out what we're doing with our short film and where it's at and what it needs to be and what we need to do to get people to see that. Because I've actually had people watch the trailer of Trickle Down Autonomy and say, "Where's the rest of it? What's the director doing? We want more of it." Right.
So interested. Do you know the latest details of that?
No, I don't.
So
I'm not active. I know I really don't. We have
right. So Erin is now in New York City. That was the chick with the red hair.
Yes.
And Charisma is in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So both of my main characters just went to two opposite ends of the United States. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to, I still have you and Roland. Orlando.
Right.
And I would have to just think of something just to kind of maybe give some backstory to maybe those people, like she ended up getting sent to, like we said, bumfuck Egypt, right? So, I'd have to come up with some story to kind of do that. But, you guys are still here, so we'd have to figure something out. But, yeah, my main characters, like, they just jetted. But, which is good because I think that, they felt that, they really need to be where, and, I did hang out with both of them, and you can see that on the channel. And they were like, they really wanted to go where the business was being conducted. And that's good for them. So, but yeah, it's definitely same thing I'm getting on this end is that people are looking to see me expand it, and I'm definitely giving it some consideration as well. So, just be, I just say, stay tuned because
we'll be ready. I'm trying to be like Samuel L. Jackson. I'm trying to film every day of the week, all year long. Where am I at? I'm on the road.
Right. So yeah, cool. And yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that offline. But hey, man, I just want to thank you for coming by my channel and talking to my audience, telling them a little bit about yourself, and appreciate you. And we've been talking about this for a little bit, and we finally made it happen. So, is there
I appreciate it. I saw the other interviews, and I messaged you, and I thought everybody else is interviewing. I haven't interviewed. Did I get kicked out of the series?
Right. Yeah. No, I had vlogged about that too. Yeah, it was just that I already knew that I was going to do that, and I was going to get around to all you guys as well. But I think around that time, I ended up about to do a move, and so I was like, yeah, let me just do this, and then just kind of get back with everybody else later. But is there anything else you wanted to leave with as far as talking and telling everybody about yourself or anything like that?
Just look out for me. I appreciate the opportunity to perform and express myself, and I've got a lot of projects coming. I love having the opportunity to be able to work with you here in Houston, and I hope people actually listen to the interview and learn something from it as far as trying to be a performer and pursue things. And another thing too is it's never too late. It's never too late.
Right. And if you guys want to reach out to Roman, be sure. Like I'm going to leave the description I'm going to leave the information to his contact information in the description box below. But I wish they could see your monologue for what you did for Trickle Down Autonomy. That shit was bone chilling. I was like, I got to have this guy in there. I'm going to write something specifically for him. So.
And if you still got it, you got it. It's funny. I mean, I'm sitting right here in my home studio and audition space right here because I just finished, several auditions and stuff. So, man, if you got it, put it out, man. That's
absolutely. So, yeah, I might do that. Yeah, because I have it. Yeah, I made sure I saved it because I remember you sent me the link to it. I was like, this is good, and I hope you've used it for other stuff as well because it was really good. So,
but anyway, I appreciate the opportunity, Paul.
Absolutely, man. So anyway, I'm gonna let you go ahead and get back the rest of your evening, this Sunday evening. But I want to just say thank you once again, and I'll be talking to you soon offline.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, take it easy.